Hi, this is My Two Favorite Librarians. I'm Denise Corey.
I'm Chantel Taylor, and today we're talking about love stories versus romance.
And really, this is mostly your ballywick.
Yes, because I do love a good romance.
You do love a good romance. You talk about romance. You have presented at a national conference. Well, it was primarily about erotica, but it was also about romance. You did presentations on romance too. So you're our romantic expert.
I don't know that romance book. I think we need to have book in there. I don't want to help people solve I don't want to give out romance advice.
You just want to
because mostly it's
fiction.
just like leave him.
Fiction is so much better because obviously in real life things never work out.
No, and that's the kind of the point of a romance book is that it is fiction. It's books where bad things happen to bad people and good people have good things happen to them and everything turns out okay in the end, and that never happens in real life.
So a romance book, does it always have a happy ever after?
Yes, and it is the unbreakable rule of romance. There must be a happily ever after. They will come to your house and burn it to the ground
if there's no happy ever after.
J.R. Ward she writes the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, and it's a romance series, and she's probably like 12 or 15 books in, and a couple of books ago she killed the heroine. If comments on Goodreads could kill, she would not. Like, people were livid. If there is no happily ever after, it is not a romance. Nicholas Sparks.
But Nicholas Sparks says he doesn't write romance, he writes
love stories.
Can you hear the sarcasm dripping?
Now, there is a difference between a love story and a romance. Now, a lot of people don't want to end up in the romance shelves because people look down their nose at romance and they think...
Which is ridiculous because it is the best selling genre fiction in the world.
It is. It's usually, I think last year when I did this presentation in Charlottetown, annual figures had just come out and mystery had just bumped up ahead of romance. So it'd be general fiction, mystery, and then romance.
Wow.
And it's been like a long time since something bumped up ahead of romance.
Romance was... Well, now I'm sad.
So one of the reasons is sometimes people don't want to end up in the romance
section.
Yes, because they feel like no one takes it seriously. It's not real literature. It's just romance. I don't want to be there. So Nicholas Sparks is like, I think in a way, painting a line in the sand saying, I don't write romance. I write a love story. Everyone dies. So no, you don't write romance, Nicholas Sparks, because there is no happily ever after.
Not everyone dies. Usually just the heroine dies.
Everyone dies. It's terrible. But in all seriousness, there is like kind of like, I mean, obviously it's not like a finite thing. So one of the most popular books that you see often put on the romance list is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I would not consider it a romance. I would consider it a love story.
With time travel.
Yes, because it's more like historical fiction. And also a romance is usually one book and it ends at the end of the book. It's very rare. If you have a series, it's usually different people in each book. So Diana Gabaldon, I've never read Outlander. It's Claire and...
Jamie.
Yeah, I think Jamie and Claire.
I only read the first book.
I started to read it. I didn't love it.
There was... I do not enjoy a book that has like rape.
Yeah, it's... Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I would consider that a love story.
Yeah.
As opposed to...
Well, so something like The Time Traveler's Wife.
I would consider that a love story.
Because in the end, be prepared for this, people.
Spoiler alert.
One of the main characters dies.
And
it's
also...
very sad. I may have cried.
The love story isn't necessarily the focal point. Like, really, the time travel is the focus.
Yeah.
Because in a romance, the other events are peripheral to the love story. It's the main.
So I guess I read love stories. I don't really read romance, but I have added to my list this year to read one of those books in the
Immortals After Dark.
In the Immortals After Dark series, because you've been speaking so highly of it.
Yes.
I really feel like I should give
one of them a shot.
one of them
Now,
a
you
shot.
did read last year, and although technically it's not a romance because it's a series, the Gail Carriger Solus, and
read-
that the first book on its own, if there were no others, I would say romance.
I did, yes, because she does in the end up with her, romantic partner,
Her werewolf.
her werewolf. Yeah. So it's supernatural romance. I like that one because there
was a mystery.
It was a bit, and it's a bit funny.
Yes. Some romances are funny.
I know, but
Sham Sandwich.
What?
Sham Sandwich. She had the mashed vegetable sandwiches that she was giving out.
Yes. I was like, what are you talking about? Do you want to say what your favorite romance ever is? Do you have one? Am I putting you on the spot?
Well, yes, but no. It's so hard. There's so many good ones out there. So last year I talked a lot about the Winston brothers, the Beard books, as you called them. I found that series by Penny Reed. And I'm still, as you can hear, I'm still not feeling very well. And I just downloaded one of her books from the Knitting in the City series.
All of her characters have terrible names.
Just the boys in the...
Cletus.
Cletus is my favorite. But I really loved that. And it was, I had a friend of ours who's a romance reader email me and say, would I like these books? And I was like, well... they're not like the most literary books. They're like fun. And like, if you're not looking too deeply at maybe the grammar and they're just like candy. They're like a Mars bar. They're sweet and perfect and awesome. And they're not,
but you don't want too many of them because they'll make your teeth fall out of your head.
Exactly. But still good. So Sarah MacLean is one of my favorites. I've mentioned her. And one of my favorites is One Good Earl Deserves a Lover.
All of her titles seem to be quite punny.
Yeah, and she likes a good pun. And Sarah MacLean is the one who's doing the podcast that I'm reading, Immortals After Dark. So I'm enjoying. Yes. And if you are a romance lover and you've never read a paranormal romance, I highly recommend the Fated Mates podcast. It's Sarah MacLean, who's a writer and reader and advocate for romance books, and an English teacher who is her friend and also reader and reviewer. And you would think that this series was War and Peace. The way that they go on and they analyze and they talk about the characters, and like there's a lot of mythology and the this and the... You think it was the best written thing ever. It's fantastic to listen to them go through. Sophie Jordan I found last year. I loved hers. It was While the Duke Was Sleeping. Remember? It was like a Sandra Bullock movie.
Oh.
And there's 3 in the series, and I'm hoping there's going to be a 4th. Elizabeth Hoyt, her Princes series, The Serpent Prince, I can't remember, The Serpent Prince, The Leopard Prince, and something else. Those were 3 of my favorite books. They were so well done and so sexy, and I loved all the characters. So good.
So people are going to have a lot of books to choose from for Valentine's Day.
Definitely. Or any other day. It doesn't...
Yeah.
You can read romance.
It's just because this week is Valentine's Day.
I know.
So what are you reading right now?
So
I feel like it's going to be a romance.
It's not actually a romance. I am reading another book for my work book club. So we're doing a Choose a Thriller. And I have read The Da Vinci Code.
Okay.
And...
Oh, so you chose to read another thriller.
I'm rereading another book. I'm doing Postmortem by Patricia Cornwell.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone's continuing to read these series. She's still writing them, but the Kay Scarpetta series... They were so good.
I don't think
in
I've
the beginning
ever read a
they
Patricia
were
Cornwell.
So good. And so I have vague recollections of things that are happening of certain books, but I don't necessarily remember Postmortem. So I'm going back and I'm reading it. And I don't actually know if the library owns it. I've got a copy at home that I'm reading. Maybe I'll donate my copy to add it to the collection.
Because yes, we take donations of books. So right now, I'm reading Us Conductors by Shawn Michaels. I saw him a few weeks ago. He was at the Mount A Library doing a reading. And Us Conductors is about Lev Terraman, the inventor of the theremin, which is an instrument. You hear it a lot in like 1950s sci-fi movies. And then he brought a theremin with him to the reading and played a little bit of it and then let other people like play with it. It was really interesting. So the book is historical fiction, and it's about Lev Terraman, in addition to being a physicist who invented many things, was also a Russian spy.
Oh.
But I don't think he wanted to be a Russian spy. I think it just kind of happened that way.
Interesting.
What's on at the library?
Next Monday, we are closed for Heritage Day. The 19th, I believe it is.
It's the 18th.
Oh, sorry. Monday the 18th.
Heritage Day this year is celebrating Maud Lewis. So this week, and we are doing things throughout the month of February to celebrate Heritage Day. But this week specifically, we have a screening of the movie Maudie at the Forefathers Library in Amherst on Tuesday, February 12th at 7 o'clock. And on Wednesday, February 13th, we have a folk art crafternoon for the kids in grades primary to 6. And they can make their own folk art masterpiece with supplies provided by the library. I would strongly suggest that if you sign up for that, that's at the Oxford Library, that you put the kids in clothing that you don't care if they get paint on.
Glitter,
glue, paint, markers. There are going to be art supplies, and some of it may get on their clothing.
Tossed around with wild abandon.
So you can find all of our programs on our website,
www.cumberlandpubliclibraries.ca.
And you can also find information on our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and all of those handles are on our website too. What are we talking about next week?
Next week, we're talking about Maud Lewis.
Oh, wow.
Because you've just bought some new Maud Lewis books.
I did buy some new Maud Lewis books. I'm glad that you're keeping track of what we're talking about.
I've added a line, so we're never caught in unknown. Yeah. I was going to say in arrears, and I was like, no, that's not right.
So thanks for listening in, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Bye.